Hi, my name is Sarah. Welcome to the Pacific Protect sunscreen training video. Pacific Protect is a natural mineral sunscreen developed with reef safety and the inclusion of native Vanuatu oils at its heart. We are really excited to present this training to you, to see the initiative grow and make positive impacts to your community and environment. Let's begin the training. Upon entering the production facility, the first step is to place your personal items away in the designated staff area. The next step is to wash your hands thoroughly in the designated hand washing sink. Using soap and ensuring you get between your fingers, the backs of hands. Rinsing thoroughly. And drying with single-use paper towel. The next step is to place on your protective hairnet, ensuring long hair is tied back and you're covering all loose hair, and placing on a protective apron. Now you are ready to start setting up the production space. The first step in setting up the production space is to clean and sanitize all workbenches that will be used for production. Ensuring you have a clean cloth. Then drying off with a clean cloth. Repeat this process until all benches are sanitised and clean that will be used in the production process. Now that you have sanitised and cleaned down all your work surfaces, it is time to collect the following clean and dry equipment. If any of the equipment has sat for a length of time and accumulated dust, it is important to thoroughly clean and dry each item of equipment needed for the production process. You will need 3 stainless steel bowls, 1 set of digital scales, 2 spatulas, 1 whisk, 1 thermometer, a stainless steel stirring paddle, the mechanical mixing device with the mixing attachment, a stainless steel stirring and melting pot, an electric heating source, 4 1-litre glass pouring jugs, 2 ladles, enough aluminium tins required for your batch size, a roll of paper towel, product labels both fronts and backs, 1 pair of heat resistant gloves per person, 1 hairnet per person, a box of powder free gloves, a pair of protective eyewear per person, 1 protective apron per person, and a length of protective netting. Once you have all of these items on your bench, you're ready to move to the next step. The next step is to collect all the ingredients you will need to make the sunscreen. You will need the Zinc-Clear, fractionated coconut oil, tamanu oil, virgin coconut oil, vitamin E, Nangai oil and beeswax. Please ensure that you check the use by date of each product and do a physical check for rancidity. The smell can change or the colour can change to ensure that they are all fit for use in the sunscreen batch. Next, it's time to place on a pair of gloves and stir the Zinc-Clear, using the stainless steel paddle to scrape the bottom of the tub. All the zinc oxide likes to sit at the bottom, so it's really important that you get all the solids off the bottom. All these big chunks. Now that you have removed all the solids from the bottom with a stainless steel stirring paddle, it's now time to use the mechanical stirring device to give the Zinc-Clear a thorough mix. Ensure that all of the mixing device is submerged into the liquid and slowly turn the trigger on. This drill is quite powerful, so you just need to ensure that you keep the paddle submerged in the liquid. Continue mixing with the drill in 30-second increments at a time until you are satisfied that the mixture is smooth and there are no more solids. It is also important to note at this step, it's important to wear earplugs as the drill is quite loud. This is the texture you're looking for. For the next step, you will need your batch sunscreen checklist. So if you're making a 10 kilogram batch, these are the measurements you are looking to make. You will also need your ingredient measurement checklist that you will sign off with your partner as you measure each ingredient to ensure that the correct measurements are made. Now you're ready to start measuring the ingredients. So place your measuring vessel onto the scales. Ensure that it comes to 0 and it's on grams. And then measure the required amount. Ensuring that the measurement is precise to what you're looking for. Repeat this process with each ingredient on your list until all ingredients are measured. Ensuring along the way to use your ingredient measurement checklist to sign off each ingredient. And have your second person sign off each ingredient as well. Now I'm going to measure the Nangai oil. So for a 10 kilo batch we need 500 grams. If you go over, you can just pour a little bit off till you're exactly at 500. And then sign it off on the sheet. And also have your partner do the same. I'm currently measuring the Tamanu oil, so we need 700 grams for a 10 kilogram batch. Next, I'm going to measure the vitamin E oil, of which we need 200 grams. Just make sure you tear each time to get back to 0 grams. And again, sign off to ensure that you have the correct measurements. I'm now measuring the zinc clear, so it's probably best to use a ladle to ladle it off, as it is quite a heavy liquid. So it will be harder to control the measurements if you are pouring. Okay, so once you have all your ingredients measured out and ready to go and checked off by a second person, it's time to begin production. So important equipment to have on hand is a spatula, your stainless steel stirring paddle, ladle, thermometer, whisk, your tins laid out ready to pour off into, and your 2 production sheets, which will walk you through each step of the process. So now we can begin. So the first step is to place your stainless steel vat onto your heating element and turn the heating element on. You want to start with a low to medium heat because you definitely don't want to overheat the oils. So the first ingredients to go in are the beeswax, ensuring you get every last little piece. And in with the beeswax goes the fractionated coconut oil. So we're making a 10 kilogram batch here. So once you have the beeswax and the fractionated coconut oil in, you just let that sit and slowly melt away until it reaches about 65 degrees Celsius. So that process will take about 5 to 10 minutes. Once you start to notice the beeswax pellets melting, it's important then to just be constantly checking with a thermometer and monitoring the temperature. So now this is the beeswax and the fractionated coconut oil is completely melted. It got to about 65 degrees Celsius, which is great. We don't want it to get any higher than that. The next step is to add the Nangai oil. Ensuring you scrape every last bit out. And we're also adding the virgin coconut oil. And this will bring the temperature of the oils lower. So we'll just give it a stir and check what temperature we're at with the thermometer. There's no solid bits, which is great. It's still all perfectly liquid. And that's sitting just below 60 degrees, so that's great. Now it's time to add the Zinc-Clear. Ensuring once again that you scrape down all the sides and get all the ingredients in. And now we're going to bring it down and give it a really good mix with the electric drill. So now that you've taken the big pot off the heat and mixed the Zinc-Clear in, it's time to give it a really good mix. You want to do this in 30-second increments for about 2 minutes to make sure it's really smooth and well mixed through. Okay, now that's had a good mix, it's time to add the tamanu. And the vitamin E. And give it another really good mix. So once you've finished mixing, scrape down the mixing attachment. If it becomes a little bit thick, you can just put it over a gentle heat until it's the correct thickness to pour off again. Just ensuring that you don't take the mixture over 50 degrees Celsius. Now it's time to pour the finished product into the aluminium tins. So making sure you give it a good stir. And pouring off just until you reach the first thread. Your jug doesn't have enough to fill another container, just refill your jug from the big pot. So as you get to the bottom of the batch, it might start to set a little bit and grow thick around the edges, so just try and stir that back in until it's all smooth again. So we'll pour off the rest of the jug. The last tin, just make sure you get down from the sides all the bits that are starting to set and just mix them back in so that it pours a bit easier. So once all the product has been poured off into the tins, you can get your netting and cover them until they're ready to be capped off. They've got to cool to room temperature before that can happen. That just prevents any dust or dander getting in there while they're cooling. So when you get to the end of the batch, it will get quite thick as you get to the bottom. So it's okay to just gently heat it again to get your last few pours off. Once you're finished, make sure you scrape as much of the product out of the saucepan as you can. This will just make clean up a lot easier. So once you've got the majority of it out, you want to get a paper towel and get as much of the product off as you can. And you want to do this for every piece of equipment that has a sunscreen on it before you then wash it in hot soapy water in the sink. So before you wash everything in hot soapy water, you just want to wipe as much product off with paper towel as you can. So for every piece of stirring equipment and saucepan and bowl. And then you can rinse in hot water and wash in hot soapy water before putting it into the dishwasher. So once you've got all of the excess sunscreen off the equipment, you'll need quite a bit of soap, liquid soap, to really get a lot of the oil and residue off the containers and saucepans and equipment. Good wash. And then rinse with really hot water. And once it's at this stage, it's ready to go through the commercial dishwasher. So, now that the product tins have been filled and allowed to cool at an ambient temperature of 22 degrees Celsius, they'll be ready to cap off. So once they get to room temperature, they set firm, and you're ready to, just ensuring that all the lids are stored in a place that they'll be free from dust and dander. So when you're ready to pop them on, they'll be nice and smooth on top and free from any dust. This process can be done in groups to make it a bit quicker. You've finished capping off all the tins of sunscreen, it's time to start the labelling process. So ensure you have your labels ready, both fronts and backs. So just peeling off and ensuring you place it evenly in the centre of the tin and smoothing it over with your fingers. Repeating this process again with the back of the tin, ensuring that you get the label within this rim here. Once that process has been finished, if you're packaging them up ready to send off to suppliers, they can be placed back in the plastic sleeve that the tins came in. This will prevent them being scratched or damaged in the transport process. In order to achieve a consistent product, the important things to remember are: ensure all of the ingredients are within their use-by dates before being added to a batch. The zinc clear needs to be stirred thoroughly before being measured out. Ensure that the temperature of the oils does not go over 70 degrees Celsius when being melted. Once all of the ingredients have been added into the batch and it has been mixed thoroughly, it is really important to work quickly to pour the product into the tins to ensure that it has a smooth surface before it cools and thickens. We hope you've enjoyed this training and look forward to supporting you on this journey.